Hey everybody, today we're going to be making some homemade caramel. So if you have never had homemade caramel before, you are really in for a treat. It is so delicious. It doesn't taste like anything you've ever had in a grocery store. And I think I've probably tried every kind of caramel you can think of in the grocery store, but nothing beats homemade. It is so delicious. So let's go make some. So the first thing we're going to do is add 1/4 cup of water to your saucepan. Now you're going to add 1½ cups of granulated sugar, and you're going to stir it up just until it is blended a little bit. I think that I stirred it a little too much in this video, and I did get a couple of crystallized particles there at the end, and I think it's because I stirred it too much. So you're supposed to just stir it until it is blended slightly. Then you're going to put it over medium-low heat, medium to medium-low. I started off on medium and I ended up turning it down somewhat to medium-low. And you're just going to let it boil, a low boil, until it begins to turn color. And you're going to be looking for that amber color, and you can see that it's starting to turn right here. And you can decide at this point if you want it a light color or if you like the darker caramels. And I like the darker caramels, so I let mine cook just a little longer. Now you cannot stir this. You have to just let it do its thing. You cannot stir it. At best, you can swirl it a little bit at the end, and that's all you can do. You do not stir this. If you do, it will ruin it. Now we're going to add 1 cup of room temperature cream. You don't want this coming straight out of the refrigerator, because if you add something that cold to this boiling hot mixture, you just may get an explosion. So you're going to start to whisk that together, and you are going to add 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And you're going to begin to whisk all of that together back on the heat for about 2 to 3 minutes until it all becomes very homogeneous, very uniform, very smooth. So you'll just have to stir, 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 whisk, whisk, whisk until it's all blended together in a smooth mixture. Now keep in mind, it is not going to be very thick while it is this hot. Now you're going to add your salt. This is ½ teaspoon of sea salt. We're making a salted caramel mixture. So let's speed up the process a little bit by the magic of editing. So you're going to stir this constantly now that it has everything incorporated in it. And you're going to stir it until you get that low boil again. And you're going to stir, stir, stir until it is very smooth and very creamy looking. Remove your pan from the heat and add your vanilla. And that is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. The vanilla is optional. You do not have to add it, but I think it really intensifies the caramel flavor of this. Now after you have gotten everything blended well together, you're going to add it to whatever you're going to keep it in, or if you want to cool it off quickly, you can always add it to a larger container where it's spread out a little bit more. If you're going to be adding it into glass jars like I did, please make sure your jars are already somewhat hot, whether you do that by the dishwasher, hot water in the sink, or whatever. You don't want them to bust whenever you add a really hot mixture into it. And this caramel is very, very hot. So now let me just give you a couple tips that I did not think of while I was going through the recipe. So you have to keep in mind that whenever you are going from this color, when it just begins, to this color, when it is really starting to turn brown, that process takes about 12 to 15 minutes. The video makes it look like it is much quicker, but you do have to be patient. But I will tell you this, whenever you first start to see it turn colors, do not take your eyes off of it from that point, because when it starts to turn, then it begins to happen pretty quickly, and it will go from just starting to turn to burnt very quickly. So you've got to keep an eagle eye on it. So see how easy that was? So actually, by the time you go to the store and come back with your store-bought caramel, you could have already made some with just some simple ingredients that you have in the kitchen cabinet. So let's do a taste test. My favorite way to taste caramel is straight from, is just straight without putting it on anything. I like to taste it like that first. And so look how nice and big that is. It is so delicious. So let's go ahead and see what it tastes like. Y'all, it's like heaven. I'm telling you, you simply cannot find anything like this in the store. And more times than not, whenever I taste it once, I have to taste it twice. So good. So good. Thank you for joining me and learning how to make homemade caramel. I hope you all make some. Have a great day. God bless.